Apple just announced their upcoming event with this cool image that has an Easter egg built into it, which we'll talk about. We'll also talk about which products we can expect, some extra details about those, and ones that we shouldn't. This is for Apple's Worldwide Developer Conference, or WWDC, which happens every year in June. So no, this is not an April event that I talked about, which I still think should be coming for a few reasons. Now, regular events, they'll announce it a week and a half in advance, but for WWDC, because it is an in-person event, this is announced ahead of time to give people enough time to register, to have a lottery who can come, and for people to book accommodations. Now, the real cool thing is that a lot of people can apply right here on their page. You can request to attend this special all-day event at Apple Park, which is super sweet. And all you have to do to be able to request is be a current Apple Developer Program member. Now, you don't have to be a programmer to be a member. We are actually signed up to get beta developer releases, and you do have to pay for that. Or if you're an entrepreneur at their camp for alumni, or a Swift Challenge winner, or a developer, all of those people can go ahead, hit the button, and put in that request. Now, there is a cutoff, but we are absolutely going to apply for a chance to go there in person and to see some new hardware and software. Now, last year's WWDC, Apple announced the 13-inch M2 MacBook Pro and the new redesigned 13-inch M2 MacBook Air, which was super cool with those new chips. But of course, they launched a little bit later after the event. Now, WWDC is not actually a hardware event. Most years, it is software only, going over the new versions that are upcoming for iOS, iPadOS, watchOS, different coding things. That is kind of what it is focused on. But in 2019, they did announce the Mac Pro there. And then earlier than that, they had a HomePod, they had the iMac Pro. So a lot of more Pro devices. So what are we expecting this year? Well, Apple is very clever with their art and for their announcements and events, and they typically try hiding little tips in there. So just like Sebastian is saying, let the rampant speculation begin on what this is. The image itself looks super cool, but people are already figuring it out. Halide, the camera app, posted on Twitter that the WWDC invite resembles what's called a pancake lens, which is often used in VR goggles. You guys can see the lens right here, how it's curved for the light that is passing through that. And then Darren gave us an even better example, saying that this is 100% a lens used on a VR headset. This one right here is from the Quest 2, and you guys see those rings and the lights that are passing through it. Of course, we've been talking about Apple's upcoming VR headset for a long time now. First, it was rumored to launch in January, and then moving back to WWDC, which I think does make sense because this is gonna require new software, a different operating system that they're working on. Apps have to be made and optimized for this. So what just makes sense to be announced at an event where there are tons of software developers. We've also been getting more and more leaks recently. For example, this image of some cables and these ribbons that are fitting that actual headset. We've had so many leaks that we know a lot about this thing. First off, it's gonna be ridiculously expensive and a niche product because of that, but some cool stuff being that it could have a digital crown, which is really great on the AirPods Max, on the Apple Watch, of course, where it debuted, along with a waist-mounted battery pack. Now, some people are upset by this because you have multiple different devices, you have to clip it on, but at the same time, with other VR headsets where the battery's built in, that's a lot of extra weight that's on the front that makes you a lot more tired. We had another leak by Mark Gurman that the headset could have in-ear typing, which sounds cool, kind of like Minority Report, and that it could not even require an iPhone to be paired to it, which I would hope so for such an expensive device. device. And just a few days ago, we had info come out that Apple demoed a mixed reality headset to executives in the Steve Jobs Theater last week. Now, this part is very interesting because it's the top 100 executives, and based on what they saw, they were not that impressed. The first version of this device could look like a dud next to other Apple products, likely because it's going to be launching at around $3,000 without killer applications, requiring that external battery pack, which is said to be replaced every couple hours, which is crazy. Now, hopefully you can just use a standard power bank and it's USB Type-C, so you can use a larger one to get it to last longer. And people have said that it is a bit uncomfortable, and it's gonna be just very limited with the launch. So if that headset's gonna be that expensive and not really a mass market product, what should we be excited for at WWDC? Well, we have leaks of new MacBooks. It says a new 13-inch and 15-inch MacBook Airs likely to launch by summer, which could mean we're at WWDC and push forward, but personally, I don't think that will be at that event because WWDC is a software event, and in the years that they did release hardware, they had a very limited amount of hardware that was released. And with that headset, they're gonna need a lot of time to show it off, to explain it, so there won't be much room left. So I think a MacBook Air would be a lot more probable at, say, an April event. Some people think that we could have a new iMac coming up as well, and we do have reports that Apple is working on it, both an updated 24-inch model with an M3 chip, and before that, there are multiple designed 27-inch iMacs that we've really been waiting for, and those just keep getting pushed back as well. And now it looks like, at least for the smaller version, that it shouldn't be coming out until fall. Now, a lot of people are also asking for a new Mac Studio with an M2 Max chip and an M2 Ultra, but we also have reports that Apple is not going to be updating that, at least until the M3 Max and M3 Ultra chips, because the upcoming Mac Pro is way too close to the Mac Studio. So that would take away from the sales of the larger, more expensive Mac Pro. Now, I think if there's any other device or product that's going to be launching alongside the headset at WWDC specifically, it would be the Mac Pro. Now, the 2019 Mac Pro was actually announced at WWDC, and before that, when we had hardware, we had an iMac Pro being announced at WWDC back in 2017. So that lines up perfectly, giving a pro-level device and announcing it to developers at their professional events. So I think the Mac Pro is very likely to come out there, and we know that it is the last Intel Mac that is still up for sale, definitely outdated. Thankfully, I actually sold mine after a year or more trying to sell the Intel version. So we really need a new Apple Silicon, more powerful one, and it is overdue. So personally, I'm the most excited about the 15-inch MacBook Air. I made a whole video about that in the April event, which you guys could check out right over there by clicking that button. Go ahead and click that circle above to subscribe to get the latest news and updates. Comment down below what you guys are excited about. This has been Max, and I will see you in the next one.